kind of raining today at the background, the raining sun. But anyway, I like to speak something in this video, and I think you still can hear me. Now the question in my mind is, does God love me? Okay. Now indeed, God loves all of us without exception. In the same way that the Father loves the children and all his children included. So whether one child is a bad child or whether that child is a good child, it doesn't really matter, because the Father loves every child. And why? Because only for one main reason: you belong to me. The Father and the Son is basically one individual. Why? Because the gene is the same. So when we look deep into ourselves, not at our body, but deep into ourselves, we realize that we are just one gene in the same family. In the very same way, God is one gene with all humanity. Not just with humanity, with every of his creation, including the stars of heaven and the soil beneath the earth. Okay, so that is very clear, that God indeed loved us. That's the point I want to stress. God indeed loved us. Okay. Why? Because God is one with us. Simple as that. But now the next question is, can I feel the love of God? Now I realize that that is not an easy thing. Now, I can feel his love by imagining. If I have a thought and my thought can imagine, then I would feel that love of God in myself. So I'm happy for those people who would prefer to feel God's love. It is good for them. It is something that we like to believe in ourselves, because we are kind of lonely, right? We travel the road of this world all alone, even if we have families with us, but we are kind of alone. And it's good to know that God loves me and always has mercy on me. So I prefer to believe, and I should believe, that God loves me. And it is correct. I'm not saying it is wrong for us to believe in that. It is true and correct to believe that God loves me. God loves every man because God is one with humanity and all. That's a fact. But to feel God's love for us, well, I would say that it's actually kind of imagination. That's what I meant. Indeed, God loves us, but if we want to feel God's love, then I have to emphasize that actually, in truth, it's a kind of imagination. Our thought can reach out far and wide, and therefore we can believe fully and truly that God loves us. And I would surely tell you that no one in this world would disagree with you. Indeed, God loves you and me. But there's another point I like to emphasize, and it is this: that if we don't have an imagination, if our mind do not imagine, we won't feel that love. Yes, you won't feel that love. You just have to look around you in all of the world. Everyone, every individual, every person, when he comes into this world, if he's not told about God, he will never know about God, would he? So, if he feels that God loves him, that's because he was told that God loves him. And after he was told that God loves him, he would begin to imagine that God loves him. But the truth I'm saying is that although God truly loves us, to understand God's love is more than just a thought. If a person truly knows what is within himself, if he enters the true presence of himself, if he can, then he will discover that he is one with God. Yes. He won't feel the love. He will realize that he's just one with God. And this oneness with God is, of course, love. That's right. But if you want to imagine love, it's a bit different. If you want to imagine love, you would say that my friend loved me. You would actually create two persons. You would say my friend loved me, and I love my friend, right? Yeah. But God's love is not the same as one person loving another. God's love is right within your soul. And unless you can feel so, you don't know what love is. For love is oneness with everything around you, including your friend, your strangers, and your enemy. That's why Jesus said, love your enemy. Because he realizes that true love is about loving your enemies. Because true love is about oneness. But of course, if we want to imagine love, then we can imagine that God loves us and that I love God, okay? And I can also extend that imagination to the loving of my friends. Yes, indeed. And I will have to show love to my friends. I can do all that. I can do all that. But to realize that I'm one with my friend, that is another thing. To realize that I'm one with the divine, that's another thing, right? I'm asking you, if you can, to discover the oneness within yourself, the love that permeates through all things. And it's not about one person loving another. That is in our mind. It's about love that permeates into all. So now you're asking me a question. Does God love me? I agree, and I say yes. And again, you probably ask me, should I love God? Yes. Again, I will say yes. But whatever it is, I want to say that your love for God is love from myself to God out there. And when you say that God loves me, you will say that God out there loves me. It's about two persons connecting as one. But that's not what love is all about. The true presence within you is all encompassing. It is not about a separation that exists in anything, for we are just simply one. But remember, I'm not asking you to intellectually believe that we are one. If we are just believing that we are one with God, that's not good enough. That's still imagination. I'm asking you to feel right within you the deep love that exists in all of us. And it's not about imagination, it's about being in touch with presence. That's the most important thing of all, to be in touch with presence. And let me add this very important truth. If indeed I feel the love within me, permeating through all, if indeed I am with my presence, then you will discover that it's impossible on your part to judge your friend. It's impossible on your part to say your friend don't like you, or that you would suspect the intentions of your friend. It is impossible for you to do that kind of thing. Do you know why? Because you sense the true permeating love, the vastness of love that is in every man. In every man. I hope that clears the matters. But the problem with all of us is that we are not in touch with presence. And because of that, we imagine love. And when we imagine love, we try our very best to show love to our friend. And we expect love from someone else. But you wouldn't have done that. You would never suspect the love that is coming from another person. You would never do that. Why? Because you understand love within yourself in as much as you understand the love in every man. And that is why I have been saying all the time, your love is an imagination. Because love cannot be suspicious at all. Everybody is thinking that they love somebody and they congratulate themselves for that love. I would even say that I have a religion, and because of my religion, I've empowered with love. They would even say that. But the point is this: if I truly discover the oneness of God, you know what happened? Every human being, whether religious or not, is in love. I can see that in me as I see that in everyone. What am I disturbed by? I'm not disturbed by anything. I'm exactly living heaven on earth.